I've walked out on the whole thing. At first, I admit, I was in awe at the picture of an international convention of scientists and scholars, but there were many papers that angered me. P.T. Zellerman's study on the difference of the length of time it took white rats to learn a maze when the corners were curved instead of angular, to name the best of the worst. We were the main attraction, so everyone found themselves at their large conference room as we took our seats on the platform, Algernon in his cage, between Dr. Strauss and me. Dr. Strauss, after our introduction, took Algernon for the beginning part of his presentation. He demonstrated Algernon's problem-solving skills by putting him through his paces of solving a problem in order to get his meal, something I've never stopped resenting. Then he put him back into his cage. After that, Dr. Strauss said something I had not known. At the peak of his intelligence, Algernon sometimes refused to work, even when apparently hungry. And other times, he, instead of taking his food reward, would hurl himself against the walls of his cage. I realized immediately that this information had been withheld from me. I suspected the reason, and it angered me, but that was nothing compared to what I felt when Dr. Strauss said, "When Charlie came to us, he was outside of society, alone in a great city with no friends or relatives to care about him, without the mental equipment to live a normal emotional life. No past, no contact with the present, no hope for the future. It might even be said that Charlie Gordon did not really exist before this experiment." At that point, this compulsion overwhelmed me. I opened up Algernon's cage. He stopped. He looked at me. He paused. Then he darted out of his cage, jumped down onto the platform, then onto the floor. The audience divided in its aims, becoming a tangle of arms and legs. "He went out the side door," someone shouted, so I ran out the side door. I was pretending to look for him under a garbage can when half a dozen women came screaming out of the women's bathroom. I was the first one to cross the invisible barrier to find Algernon perched on top of one of the faucets, glaring at his reflection in the mirror. He allowed me to pick him up and put him into my jacket pocket. Others came bursting through the door, and I walked outside as they searched the washroom. I used my return flight ticket on the first flight back to LA. I'm gonna stay at the hotel for a few nights. Just instead of going back to my place. Come here, baby. I mustn't panic. It's just that things are not as definite as Dr. Strauss believes. Where do we go from here, huh?